Hello, everybody, and welcome. We have been joined by one of the meisters of the industry, Alessio Cavatori, and today we are talking Pacific Rim.
Yeah, I am so excited for
pumped.
this.
I am absolutely pumped for this. Alessio, you sneaky, sneaky man. How did you lay your hands on this one?
Well, I couldn't possibly reveal the secrets of the industry, but as you know, licensing is all doing well on one, and then the other ones are much easier. They get easier. It is it's like the housing ladder. There's a licensing ladder, effectively. So step by step.
Yeah, of course.
I reckon he just followed Guillermo del Toro around for about a month, going, "Please."
No,
that's what I would have done.
No, I would imagine Alessio probably made a full-on Gypsy Danger and went, "Guillermo, look, it's beautiful."
Full size. That would be nice.
Okay.
Well, I mean, this license is is for Pacific Rim Uprising, of course. So the second movie, so Del Toro is just consulting, I guess, producer. But then, of course, we got the first one as well. So it's all wrapped up into one. So we have all Pacific Rim, which is super cool.
Yeah. I am really excited to see what you're going to do with this, Alessio. Although I have to imagine you have probably been walking around now for months, biting and chewing your lip off, going, "I can't talk about this." Gah!
You're off the chain.
There've been some leaks, I think. I'm sure you guys at some stage will reveal the little video we filmed months ago where there was some.
Of course.
Yeah, but you're off the chain now, Alessio. You can tell us. And to start with, can you tell us a bit about the game?
Sure. Well, it's obviously big miniatures, 75 mil on average. It depends on the size. There's bigger ones, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but I'm sure you can fly some images there. But if I put this next to my face for scale, so it's pretty big. There's Gypsy Avenger here.
Hello, Alessio. Have you went ahead and painted that one?
You know how well I paint, of course. Not. What we're gonna do, of course, is these are going to be pre-paint. We are in the process of getting prototypes and painting tests, and of course the quality control will be as strict as possible. Everything matches exactly what we show, etc. So it's an interesting new adventure, this pre-paint thing, and with challenges and exciting things. But obviously, when we see the quality that we should be able to achieve, it's quite astonishing.
As a fellow non-painter, I am very happy to see that.
Yeah. Although I do want to say congratulations on the Highlander.
Thank you.
Looks like a fantastic game, and I cannot wait to get my copy. Now,
support.
What?
Thank you for your support.
Oh, well, you make great games, Alessio. Simple as that. All right, next question. I want to know, what is your favorite part of Pacific Rim, the franchise and the movies and stuff? What is the thing that draws you to it the most?
Well, as a personal thing, I am a big fan of Japanese animation. As you know, Japan is a big thing in my life. I was married to Japanese, went to Japan yearly. It's a big thing, and having grown up watching anime of big robots fighting giant monsters, obviously when Pacific Rim came about, I was like, and I was lucky enough that I saw some of the early developments in Weta when I was there. And then I went to see it in IMAX cinema, and I would definitely recommend to people that like the genre, that like these movies, to go and watch Uprising in an IMAX. Big cinema, big sound. Sound is the best. For me, is the most important thing, because it's all about mass, it's all about weight, and Pacific Rim, unlike other films that feature giant creatures, I think it very much makes you feel the weight of these things, make you feel the mass of these things by being slow, cumbersome when they move, and the sound in the cinema is so important because the vibration in your body when you feel the thing stomping. It makes it real. It makes it so much more real.
Yeah, so you want to feel your ribcage vibrating whenever Gypsy Danger's walking?
That's right. The guy just scream and you feel like, oh my god.
Yeah, I had that feeling when I first saw Pacific Rim. Actually, on the subject of him being in Japan, I've just got to say a quick thank you to Alessio, because a few days before I went out there, he gave me one of the most valuable pieces of advice for going to Nagoya, which was eat misokatsu.
What is misokatsu? Please tell me
Delicious.
it's not cat. Because I heard cat in there.
No,
It's not cat.
it is not cat. Movie. If you don't know miso katsu, just don't ask.
Okay.
It's too good. Anyway, how did you get that look and feel of Pacific Rim onto the tabletop itself?
Well, clearly, I mean, trying to translate IP into rules, particularly war games, is something that I have quite a lot of experience with, and hopefully people think that I'm good at. Maybe, no. But it was, I mean, together with the two other designers, we worked on this and made sure that, for example, the mass of the movement, we wanted to keep it simple because we want people to be able to use a few models, not just a single model, because that would we want to be able to maneuver a force of Jaegers or a force of Kaijus. So we couldn't make it too complicated, but I think the way we convey that is with the movement. I think one of the main ways is the movement of the Jaegers, where you move a certain amount of hexes forward, and then only at the end of the move you can rotate one hex side left or right, which means that you have to think ahead what you're going to do next turn, because obviously if you move yourself in a position where, because you have to move forward before turning, I mean, you can stop in your tracks and turn, but that slows you big time. But basically, you don't want to end up in front of another, or a building, or a piece of terrain, another model, so then you stop. So that mass and cumbersomeness in movement is very important. Kaiju have it too, but they are, because they're organic, they are more maneuverable. They can turn at the beginning or at the end, so that actually makes them a lot more flexible in the way they can maneuver. Because obviously they're creatures of flesh, not machines. So yeah, that was kind of the simplest way we managed to do that, to keep it simple and give you that feeling of there's a mass, there's a momentum. You have to think about that when you move.
All right. Well, there's a question that has just occurred to me, Alessio. Now, if you can't say, please feel free just to tell me you can't say. But I would love to know: are you going to be designing this so that all of the miniatures you're playing with are characters from the movies? Or are people going to be able to customize their kaiju and their Jaegers?
Oh, that would be fun.
To begin with, certainly we're going to go for the things in the movie. So certainly the models we're producing are things that you will see in Pacific Rim Uprising and then in Pacific Rim. Obviously, it depends how the Kickstarter goes. How many are we going to make? Hopefully we'll go very well and we'll cover everything and more. Because obviously, as well as the main characters in terms of Jaegers and Kaijus, there are also some kaijus and some Jaegers which appear maybe just for a few seconds, then just name, I don't know, Axe Head, you see it for a second. So we do first the ones that actually have a lot of screen time. Then if the thing goes really well, we'll do the ones that have minor parts if you want. But certainly, obviously, I can't say how well this is going to go, but if it goes really well, of course, we also have the ability of creating ones, as making up new ones. And so that's in what models the line of products, if you want. But in terms of customizability, Jaegers and Kaijus have Jaegers have what we call upgrade cards. So basically, you always can tweak your Jaeger and put a supercharged engine, or a second level particle cannon, so you can increase the abilities of the specs, if you want, of your Jaeger. Also, being that it is Pacific Rim, of course, the pilots are very important, the Rangers. So which Ranger you put in, and which Ranger is that Ranger compatible with? Because again, it's not you can put any pilot together. The team is about mind melding. So some pilots work well with some other pilots, some pilots don't work very well with other pilots. So again, the type of combos are conditioned by the type of Rangers and their compatibility. So basically, you can customize Jaegers quite a lot, but with the pilots and with the upgrade.
Nice.
While Kaijus have mutations, they have an aggressive mutation and a defensive mutation, a defensive one. So obviously, again, you can tweak them. It's like regeneration and super rage, or so you can slightly modify these creatures. And obviously, I suppose probably getting the right combo would be part of the optimizing your force. So yeah, that's the plan for customizability and for which models we're going to do.
Every upgrade you were saying there, Alessio, our grins were just getting wider and wider and wider.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you see, your grin is getting wider and wider, Sam, because you're going, oh my god, this is going to look so cool. My meta brain is going, ooh, tactical depth.
Well, now, you see, the thing you mentioned about pilots, I was just thinking, who in the Beast of War team would make good pilots? I think you and Warren would.
Oh, no, I do not want to go in that mind. I've had this discussion. If I'm mind melding with anyone, It has to be with John.
No, I think it would be Warren because he's had so much practice melting your mind already. So.
Exactly, so we wouldn't work well together in a Jaeger. There's me, drooling on one side of it, the other side of Warren just giggling to himself, and the thing's just limping along.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like before I mentioned the hexes movement. These many hexes forward, etc.
Yeah.
So I assume that people obviously would think by now, so there will be a hex grid on this. It will be on a hex grid, and I have to point out, actually, flash through my head that I should basically make clear that I make this clear. The game is not played on a grid. It's not played on a hex grid, or rather, it's played on what we call an invisible hex grid, as in there's a playmat. That's terrain, which means you can play on a war game table. You can create your own table and play in free, etc. However, when you measure movement, ranges, etc., you have this tool, which obviously this is a prototype. Obviously, everything you're seeing everywhere, of course, is prototypes. But so we'll have a tool which we call a hex gauge, which basically allows you to move and fire, etc. But particularly with the movement is done so that basically, as you put it down on the table, as a template of movement, and then you would move your model, slotting it, rotating it around the thing. So, and then you remove it. So when we play testing like this, the feeling, because of also the hex being in the theme of Pacific Rim, like you look at the visor of the Jaegers, they are divided in hexes. They use the hex quite a lot in graphics. So it seems a perfect fit. You almost have this holographic hex grid in my head, of course. There's no real holographic hex grid in the game.
Unless you meet the stretch goals in the Kickstarter, which come with a free holographic visor.
$1 billion, well, we have a holographic game. But other than that, basically the idea is there's no grid, but when you move or when you range, suddenly the grid is there, you measure it, and then you remove the tool and the grid is gone, and you have the aesthetics of a war game, but hopefully most of the precision of a hex game. So we're really. This is one of the things that when we showed it to people at demos and stuff, they were kind of going, "Ooh, interesting." So
see, I like the idea of this because say I've placed myself down on the table, Sam, and you've placed yourself, but we're at oblique angles to each other. We're both moving on an invisible hex grid, but you can't have that I'm just going to count it out moment, or you have those moments when you're trying to come after someone, but your invisible hex grid is slightly off to the other person's. So whenever you meet, I assume you have to butt together.
Yes. Obviously, the main principle is if your next step, your next hex would contact an enemy or a building, something like this, then you kind of snap to the base because they're on hex bases. So you snap to the base. So obviously, the hex grid it's not fixed.
Yeah.
But it remains measured in hexes.
Yeah.
And the snapping means that when you snap, then you go back into a perfect hex grid again. So
I like that idea.
It makes of myself.
It makes everything very free flowing and natural movement.
Yeah, but it takes away that meta of the number of times I've played games with a set grid and I've just been counting out what I can do, trying to plan it out. You've got that uncertainty that you get in a war game, which is nice.
Yeah. It's a very nice way of hybridizing the board game system and the miniatures game system.
Yes.
So, Alessio, if we're moving on there, River Horse are dealing with a lot of licensed products. I mean, just looking behind you there, you've got Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, Terminator, My Little Pony.
Yeah.
One of these things is not like the other. Conan and stuff. So, what is the differences between working with a licensed product and working with your own original IP? What are the challenges there?
Well, obviously, the bonus of working with the licenses that brings a certain volume of users, of dedicated users that love that IP. So obviously, it normally makes your volumes bigger. However, of course, there are drawbacks. The drawbacks are that you have to obviously get everything approved, which makes your process of creating a game longer and sometimes more complicated. It really depends on the type of license. So many licensors, I mean, in my experience, every licensor seems to work slightly differently. Some are better, some are worse, and it just better or worse in terms of more or less efficient in approvals, in supporting you, etc. But so it is a tricky thing, and then you have, of course, the royalties and the amount of money you need to pay for using the IP, which obviously is a factor that you have to consider. So there's good and bad, like in all things. I tend to work on IPs that, I like, I suppose I have the advantage that I can kind of work on things that I like, things that I love, things that excite me and the staff, and so we tend to do stuff that we like, which helps a lot because the passion for the subject helps a lot in making products that are cool, that you love. Therefore, like the IP, normally share your love with those products, and and the licensor feels that, feels that you have knowledge for the product, feels that you have passion for the product. So that if the licensor is happy with your product and the audience is happy with your products, then the product should be successful. Of course, like all things IP, then there are I'm sure, guys, you're familiar with the classic internet crowd where sometimes, of course, you think, what have you done? You ruined my favorite IP because it didn't do exactly what I would have done with the IP. And you go, well,
yeah,
that's a fact of modern community stuff. That kind of stuff happens. But overall, we found that the love for the passion for the IP is a massive factor. I mean, the amount of people that said that, oh my God, Labyrinth, is the best. Oh my God! So we found there's a huge crowd of people who share our passion, my passion for that movie, and it's really heartening. And thinking of all those families playing the game and enjoying with their kids playing together the game is just, the thought of those people that at Christmas bring out Labyrinth, watch the movie, and then play the game with their kids all together as a cooperative game, and then they write us and say, oh, that was fantastic. I played it. When you get those things, you just think, well, it's all worth it. It's just so much joy to think that you brought joy to other people in their houses, etc. It is great.
Yeah, I actually have a friend who is the biggest Labyrinth fan ever, and when I showed her that your game existed, it was amazing. Her eyes just went so wide.
Yeah, well, trust me, you should have heard John's Laura whenever she got her signed copy of the My Little Pony role-playing game. I swear to God, I heard dogs bark and she squeaked that loud. It's just like... Well, and if your dog just barked there, I'm sorry.
I'm a massive Del Toro fanboy, so I'll be going over this one with a fine-tooth comb, Alessio.
No, for me, it's this kind of an IP, this kind of a movie it's meant to be lighthearted and fun.
Oh yeah.
You do not go over this with a fine-tooth comb. You get stuck in with big stompy robots, massive drooling kaiju just hammering hell out of each other.
Big stompy robots are a serious thing, my friend.
They're big stompy robots. They're huge. They're fun, and oh look, it has a plasma cannon. Amazing.
I know.
Okay, Alessio, quick one for you. Can you give us any sort of hints as to what kaiju and Jaeger we may see you making here? Some of the first ones we'll see coming out.
Sure. The starter set, so to speak, the core set, if you want, has Gypsy Avenger, which is obviously the main character. Leaving aside the actors, but in terms of Jaegers, is the main character. So Gypsy Avenger for sure, and he will be facing off against Shriketorn, which is a Category 4 kaiju that will be fighting them in the movie. So and then I don't know if you've seen the trailers, but there's kind of the action focus is on mostly 3 kaijus against 4 Jaegers. Kind of in the trailer you can see them fighting each other in different settings, and so those 4 and 3 will be the start, the initial focus. There's also another. I mean, if you look at on the internet, there's a few videos and stuff of Gypsy Avenger fighting a mysterious Jaeger.
Yeah, there is some Jaeger on Jaeger action out there. I am curious to see what you're going to do. Plasma
swords, effectively, and he's fighting that too. And obviously, I won't say much because this this goes out before the movie. But
oh, please tell us.
The NDA, Alessio. No, the NDA. Think of the NDA. All right, the final question.
And then we'll see. It depends how the Kickstarter goes, whether the demand is, to continue and explore more of Pacific Rim Uprising or going to Pacific Rim, the first movie, a mix. So, we'll see. We'll see how the thing develops.
Okay, the final question then, Alessio. I know what I'm going, but I want to know what you're going. So I'm going to be going Jaeger all the way. Alessio, what's it to be? Jaeger or kaiju?
Both, clearly.
The man speaks sense.
All right, Sam?
Well, I mean, like in war games, often I collect more than one army just for the simple reason that when you have a mate that doesn't have any, you want to play, you go, right, I'll give you this army, so you play these, I'll play those. So clearly everybody needs both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get behind that, because I do that in the office quite a lot. If I want to get into a game, I'll get 2 factions, that way people I want to get into it have no buy-in.
But I would have to say my preferred faction of this would be the kaiju.
Fantastic. We won't argue.
Yeah, I love that organic element of them. And the monster designs are just amazing.
I don't know. For me, growing up, one of my favorite anime had to be the Gundam series.
Right.
So I grew up with like Gundam Wing, and I just love the idea of having huge robots just duking it out. It's great.
I grew up with Pokemon. Give me more monsters.
Well, Alessio, thank you very much for that little bit of a look at what's happening with Pacific Rim. Oh, do you have something else?
Yeah, one last thing. Alessio, can you tell us the date of the Kickstarter launch?
Monday, the 12th of March.
Yeah, so this coming Monday.
That's
Okay.
right. Very soon.
How long will the campaign be running for?
3 weeks.
3
Roughly,
weeks?
thereabout, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, beginning of April. I think the 4th at the moment, but it may be finalized. I don't know, but yeah, towards the beginning of April, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to be sitting with my mouse just hovering over that pledge button, just going, you need to eat this month.
Yes, you may not be the only one there.
Yeah. Well, Alessio, thank you very much. It is amazing to hear about this very cool game, because I cannot wait to see it in action. I cannot wait to get my hands on some of the miniatures, get a look at the pre-paints, and well, just actually see the movie as well, because what I would probably do is I would play my game of this while having the original running in the background or the new one running in the background, just to get that epic soundtrack while I'm playing the game.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
the first movie was the first movie I watched in my new apartment in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, I just went, I'm in Japan. Got to.
Dude, did you look out the window and go, okay, is it coming? Am I gonna have to worry about my Newton's Cradle getting set off? Alright, well, once again, thank you, Alessio. Thank you, Sam, everybody. Hopefully that gives you something to get a bit of a conversation on the go about. We'll move back to the Weekender, and we'll see you shortly.